I put the Colts, the Broncos, and the Patriots in the Commanders category from last year, where it's like if the draw is favorable, they can advance. But I think there's risk for them getting exposed a little bit. You know what I mean? Like at the end. And I thought a lot of I'm just worried about the Broncos' ability to keep up in a shootout. You know what I mean? Like, and
unless it's against the Giants.
Right. So with them, I'd be worried about their ability to keep up in a shootout. And like, I love their defense, but in today's NFL, like, I just think there's a good chance that you're going to have to win different types of fights in the playoffs, and you have to be able to win the most types of fights. So can you win that type of fight? If you're the Broncos, I think that's an open question. The Colts, I can't find a weakness on the Colts. You know what I mean? Like a real weakness. And I just feel like, do they have that gear? You know, again, like where when you're in the playoffs and they're and you just kind of get into the fourth quarter, and now all of a sudden it's like the Texans last year hanging around with the Chiefs until the fourth quarter, and then the Chiefs punch the gas at the end. You know what I mean? Like, and the game's over. And I just feel like the Colts would be susceptible in that sort of situation. And I think the Patriots are this year's Commanders, like really this year's Commanders, where, you know, they're well coached. There's a very discernible play style. They've got a young quarterback who's performing at a historic level. They've made it work with a lot of older veterans that they have background with. And I mean, it's almost to a T what the Commanders did last year. You know what I mean? And so the Commanders last year, they beat the Bucs in Tampa, which was a great win, but you draw the NFC South champion, right? Like in that spot. And I think the Bucs are better now than they were last year. And then you're one upset away from getting to the NFC title game, which they pull that upset in Detroit, beating a Lions team that was enormously beat up.
Right.
So, like I'd say with the Patriots, I look at them the same way, where it's like, are they capable of pulling one upset in the playoffs? Sure. Can they pull like 3 in a row? I don't think so. So, like, I love where they're at and where they're going. And I actually think they've acted really responsibly over the last couple of weeks and not getting over their skis with their build. And I love, you know, the coach quarterback combination, no question, with Vrabel and May. But I'd be surprised if, like, we're looking up at the end of January and they're in the AFC title game.
I would even
I still personally think it's a Kansas City Buffalo situation, but maybe I'm crazy.
Okay, so I want to second my concerns. You had mentioned your concerns with the Colts and running out of gas. I second that. This is 2 weeks in a row now, Pittsburgh and Atlanta, who have really gotten into Daniel Jones's grill.
I was surprised because that offensive line had been a strength for them, and that feels like it turned on a dime in the last 2 weeks. You know what I mean?
And I think a lot of it too, though, Albert, is and I'm wondering what happens. And I guess we saw this a little bit effectively with Pittsburgh. What happens if you play an explosive offense that gets up on you early and then can rush Daniel Jones and force you to keep Jonathan Taylor in as a protector? To
me, that might be the most compelling argument for Jonathan Taylor's most valuable player.
Yeah.
Is like when you can get the Colts out of their comfort zone and you can kind of turn it into, you can force the Colts to play catch up. It becomes a different game. And I don't think Daniel Jones is a fraud. I just think he's one of these quarterbacks that is sort of dependent on his circumstances, which is 90% of them. You know what I mean? Like it's
only to be clear, there's only 3 that aren't, right? Like, right. I mean, it's
right. Yeah. I mean, they're almost all, and that's not an insult, by the way. Like, do you know how difficult it is, like, to to be like the sort of eraser, like of the sort of eraser of flaws that like Tom Brady or Peyton Manning were, you know, like at their peak, where it was like, oh yeah, we've got an offensive line issue, I'll just get rid of the ball faster. Like, that sounds simple. It's really hard to do that, right? Oh yeah, my receivers aren't as good this year, so I'll just throw into tighter windows. Like, there are very few quarterbacks that are capable of being of lifting the operation onto their shoulders. Very few of them. And again, like, it's not an insult saying you're not one, but I don't think Daniel Jones is one. He walked into a really good situation in Indy, and to his credit, he's played great. But that doesn't mean, like, if they're playing from behind and you're able to eliminate Jonathan Taylor from the game, you change the dynamic on their offensive line. You really, I mean, limit what their best player is capable of doing to you. It becomes a different game, you know. And I think the last 2 weeks, you're right. Like, I thought they showed great fight and grit and all of that last night or yesterday, and being able to beat the Falcons the way they did in Germany. But, you know, when if they get into one of those holes against a better team, it can be a different story.